Now let's talk about the carnage on our roads. It's another year and another Easter. This Friday is Easter Friday. It's going to be a very long weekend, and another Easter season is upon us. How safe will our roads be as we prepare for the big feast? Already, there's been alarming rates of accident for the year, with nearly 370 known deaths from road crashes between just January and February alone. This afternoon, we escalate our Drive Safe campaign at Nash Higher as we partner the National Road Safety Authority and AMTTD to keep our roads safe, especially in the lead up to the festive season. Before we get into it, let's take a look at the numbers as we have put together for you. So what you're seeing is road crashes in just 2 months. It is just between January and February. 2,260. That's 2,260 road crashes in just 2 months between January and February. Now, persons who have died from the crashes, 369. You heard me right. 369. These are persons who have died from the road crashes. Now, vehicles involved, 3,910. Injuries, those who got injured during the process of the accident, 2,552. And pedestrians walking just by the road and got knocked down, we have 381. The most staggering of all of them is that 369 people have lost their lives between just January and February from road accident. And that, to me, is a concern. And in 2023, between the same period, we had over 2,249 accidents. Those who got injured, 2,260, and then there's been an increase. So this is our show this afternoon. So what is going wrong and how do we fix it? Joining me in the studio is Henry Asumani from the Department for Public Investment Development at the National Road Safety Authority. Henry, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, we also have Reverend Cyril Krab, President, Accident Victim Support Foundation Ghana. And for our viewers at home, feel free to interact with us on our social media handles at JoyNews TV. Tell us about how you feel if we could keep our roads safe, your solution and your recommendation. So, Reverend, you're also welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, Henry, January and February alone, 369 people have lost their lives to road accidents.
Yeah.
And this, for me, is staggering. It's worrying, and it's simply unacceptable.
Yes, it's very unacceptable. But first, I would like to greet our viewers and then welcome them to the show.
Right.
And I would also want to show our appreciation to multimedia for the Drive Safe campaign, which has heightened road safety awareness in Ghana. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
We like what you are doing.
So 360, what does it mean? Does it mean that the education is not going on well? We are not enforcing the rules and regulations on our roads, or we simply have indisciplined drivers who are applying our rules?
Okay, for a crash to happen, there are three things that have to come to play. That is the road user, the vehicle, and then the road, because this is a space that is shared. And normally when you have a shared space, we have a lot of conflicts. It is the management of the conflict that is not, if it's not managed well, then we have these accidents or crashes. And it is true that this year, within the first 2 months, it has surged up a little, because if you compare it to last year, the persons killed have gone up by about 11%. And this is very, very unacceptable. And this is where we always say, when it comes to safety, safety starts with you, the road user. Maybe out of the negligence of someone else, something may not go right on the road or the vehicle. But you, as the road user using the road, should be extra careful. Whether you are a driver, or you are a pedestrian, or you're a cyclist, or a motorcyclist, when you are using the road, you should be very careful, because anything that happens comes to you directly. So that's why we always, safety starts with you. I am not exonerating others,
right,
like our agencies who are supposed to give us better roads, like our agencies who are supposed to nurture good drivers and then also vehicles onto the road, like other agencies who are supposed to promote road safety education.
We'll come to that. We'll come to discuss what is going wrong and whether or not we are doing so much in terms of those whose job is to ensure safety on our roads. But let me pick, Reverend, your initial reaction to the numbers that we are seeing. And according to the National Road Safety Authority, there's been an 11% rise in fatalities between January and February, the same period last year. And that for me, it tells us that we are not winning the war.
Well, thank you very much. And a quick greetings to your viewers, yourself, and the commendation, I think you worth it for the Drive Safe campaign. I think it's contributing a lot. In a long way, I believe that it will reduce the accident. Well, for me, from where we sit, accident victim support, it is just not a palatable story at all, because those that die, number one, they are buried unbefittingly. Those that get injured are not given the proper treatment. The first aid is not there. We have something we call first aid and not last aid. But when you get involved in an accident like this and look at the escalation of the number of the injuries, it tells you that they would never be given the needed treatment. And to me, like he said, I don't think it's a good narrative. Only that we pray everybody will put hands on deck. All the players will put hand on deck, and then will help bring it down. I was in Kintampo, I came just yesterday. Over there, the accident happened. It's not from the Kintampo people, residents, but travelers.
From other countries.
Yes.
Just like Kumasi is always comes on top.
Exactly.
Because it's a center.
Exactly.
From Bono to the north to sometimes to Central West, they use Kumasi.
Exactly.
And when the accident happens in the region, they add it to the original tally.
Yes, so they are saying that I call Kintampo the World Trade Center of accident. But yesterday, they made me to know that it is not like that. It is not them, the residents or the Kintampo people, but the travelers. And there's a particular spot that the accident usually happens.
What is wrong with this spot?
Great. So the spot, and Kintampo is the middle belt of Ghana. So traveling from the north, when you get there, you are tired. So they are fatigued. Most of them started, sleeping. When they are traveling from the south, they get there, they are fatigued. And they also start sleeping. And then it happens. And Kintampo...
And always at the same spot.
At the same spot. So they are saying that two things. If they can have a mandatory rest stop at Kintampo, so that coming from wherever, the north and the south, when you get to Kintampo, it's mandated that you rest. And every passenger should understand that, so that they would have the necessary rejuvenation to continue. Secondly, they also requested for a trauma center, because they could save a lot of their lives. In fact, the MC, interacting with the MC over there, visiting the sports, they could save a lot of lives. The accident definitely will make it. We are not immune to accident. Definitely it will happen. But then they can save a lot of life if they have the required infrastructure or
this morning we were told, when we're putting together this program, that the same Kintampo you are talking about, there's only one ambulance working as of now.
Good. We are even praying that we'll go back there and donate a motorcycle to them, because according to them, they could save a life when they get there, and they can bring the ambulance later. But there are other factors that at other demands. They lack a lot of things. And one of them is what they said. Also, the trauma center. To a very large extent, they also need a dual carriage. Okay. But notable of them, they said if the drivers can be mandated to rest, because they have seen that just before you get to the waterfalls, the Dawa, getting to the waterfalls, then inside the Mo, into Kintampo. That's where the accident usually happen. Mm-hmm. If you escape these places, then you are entering into Jema. And from Jema, there is a place, I've forgotten the name. The moment you go over the ramp, there's a likelihood, if you are tired, you will crash.
Right. But again, if this has persisted for so long, and there has not been any workable solution to address it. I remember some time when Port Rasi used to be a major accident center. Mm. There was something was done to arrest it. We'll come to you. I'll come back to you because you work with accident victims. We'll look at how accident has impacted the lives of people that you work with and how they are living their lives going forward. But Henry, from the National Road Safety Authority's perspective, what do you consider to be the number one cause of this unacceptable figures of 369 deaths between January and February?
Okay, thank you very much. When you look at the trend, you realize that speeding is the number one cause, because the speeds, high speeds create more severity when a crash happens. And then also when your speeds are not high, you're able to control the situation even if you find yourself in a mess. But with speeding, you can't control it, and also when a crash happens, it's severe. And it is in line with this that the authority is running the speed campaign under our broader campaign, the Stay Alive campaign. So
I thought the MTTD's presence on some of our roads was to check some of these things.
Yes. So I'm coming to talk about the campaign.
Right.
So the campaign is not just being done by the National Road Safety Authority. We are doing it in collaboration with our stakeholders. So the MTTD is part of us. Even the DVLA and everybody is part of us. So what do we do? What we do is that now most of our messages is on speeding. And getting into the Easter, it will be on speeding and drink driving, because when it comes to festival times, we also record a lot of drink driving.
People still drink and drive.
Yes, please. It happens. So that is where the target is. And we will be with the police on the road. While police are doing the enforcement, we are doing the education. We are also going to intensify pre-trip inspections at the lorry terminals, such that drivers who are leaving the lorry terminals will not have taken alcohol before leaving the.
What about those who are doing the wawa on the roads? This small minivan, and they are traveling from Accra to Kumasi. Sometimes they go to Nkoko and say that we don't have enough passengers, so we are not continuing the journey. What about such people?
Such people will be encountered on the road. But there's a larger project that is coming that will weave them off. But if I want to expand on that one, we might not talk about Easter. But that is a project that we call Transport Ghana. I'm sure you'll give me another time to really come and expatiate on
my difficulty, and what I find is difficult to accept, is why would a driver who is, for example, driving a commercial vehicle, will take in alcohol, knowing very well that alcohol may impair your judgment on the road, and will still do such a thing. And then in his state of irresponsiveness, kill other people.
I think it is human nature that when they don't see the consequence, we don't adhere to rules. So when you get them to see the consequence, then they won't do that. And because most people have done it and have gotten away with it, they keep on doing it. But as I said, this is an enforcement regime that is coming to check drink driving and speeding. And it is something that as authorities, we have identified, and we are going to crash it head on. So
for example, any vehicle that moves from the bus terminal will check whether the driver is sober.
Yes.
What about drivers?
Not just sober. Mm-hmm. You will also check your last travel time, when you came in and when you are going out. Because you need to rest. You can't just come from Kumasi.
I know anybody who wants to cheat the system, for example, if a driver decides that he wants to drink whilst driving, you check as he's moving away from the bus terminal. I mean, there's no evidence of alcohol in the system. Okay. This same driver may have used a bottle disguised as water. For all you know, it's probably a petition. And then on the way, the passenger will think that the driver
drinking
water. But in actual fact, the person will be taking in alcohol.
And that is why I said on the road as well, the MTTD will be there. The first one is called a pre-trip inspection. So maybe you hadn't taken in anything at that stage. But when you're on the road as well, when you encounter the police, they would also check alcohol. They would check your speeds and every other thing. So on the road, if you have taken alcohol, then the police will step in.
And then what? And do what?
Yes, and you'll be arrested and prosecuted.
And the passengers will have to find another vehicle to continue with their journey?
Not just find. You see, that's when a vehicle moves from a station, the station is contacted, and either another driver is sent to continue the journey or another bus is brought in. And most of the times it happens. They bring in a bus. Some may say maybe the driver is encountered around in Nkoko by moving from Accra. These transport operators have the network of buses across, so they can call somebody from just in Nkoko to come and take over, or pick another bus from there to continue. So this is, and I would urge passengers to also bear with us when we are doing this. It is for their own safety. Because sometimes when this is going on, you find passengers rather begging for the driver because they are
in a hurry and they want to
continue their journey. They are begging for the drivers. But I always say that it is better for you to be late than to be called the late. So as a passenger, if you are going to be delayed, or even 1 hour, and you will get to Kumasi late, it is better than to get to Juaso and your family will be called that you are late. So as passengers, let us take our lives in our own hands. If the authorities are working and it is delaying you, know that it is for your safety. Apart from that, when the driver is also not driving well on the road and you encounter the authorities, inform them. We run a campaign called the Passenger Empowerment. Passengers, speak. As long as you sit in the bus, your life is in the driver's hands. When you board a vehicle, what you are telling the driver is that I am paying you to transport me safely to Kumasi. So if whatever he's doing on the road is unsafe, he's going against the contract between the two of you. Right. And you have the right to correct him. Right. But when you are correcting him, please do it in a manner, humane manner. Because sometimes you may not be angry, but as how I will put it across,
it may not come out well.
Yes.
I'll come back to you to talk about the effectiveness of this method and the sustainability of it. Because I remember some time back, you introduced this reporter, strategy where somebody will be on a bus. That person will be reporting the conduct of the driver, unknown to the driver. And I think it ended after some few weeks.
No, it didn't end. It is still at play. Even we are moving from there using technology. We are employing technology for that.
All right.
Now, as I was talking about when you brought in the Wawa, that project I would explain. You give me a time. That one you give me like 1 hour to come and talk. That project, when it comes to play, every commercial driver will be monitored. And you are being monitored by the authorities, you are being monitored by your transport operator, and you are being monitored by your car owner, because they would all have access to whatever you are doing on the road.
All right.
It is coming in to prevent the accident from happening. So when we see that you are a driver who is speeding on the road, you would be stopped at a checkpoint, and then depending on what you are doing on the road, you may be arrested or you may be spoken to. You get it?
I get you. So, and then also deal with the collaboration between you and DVL, for example, in terms of the roadworthiness of some of the vehicles we find on our streets. But, Reverend, I'm more interested, you work with accident victims. The impact that accidents have had on their lives and how that has resulted in their economic circumstances. Walk us through some of these individuals.
Thank you very much. In fact, this is where I just received a text from my Bishop General, Evangelist Kofi Champon, who came to do a crusade here recently and saw the work that I'm doing. And he said that, look, you have to highlight these serious points. And today I want to be very passionate a bit. I think it's about 4 years ago we first came here when the Dawa, the first time we had crash victims who got bent beyond recognition.
Right.
As we talk now, their gravesite was never befitting. It was almost getting lost. For the past 4 years, I've been working very hard to have the place safe enough, because there are family who would come and ask one day, where would their family or beloved ones be? Where are they buried? In fact, we brought one of them for the National All Drivers Prayer and Road Safety Summit, and the impact. For 4 years, this girl has never had a birthday before, because she was talking with the mother when she was traveling. All she heard was, "Hey, Ajay," and that was it. You can the impact. Think about it. So the past 4 years, I have been doing this, the psychological, encounter, the psychiatric, and they almost got, and that's the impact, the trauma effect. They stay with it, and we have to keep them through. When they came to the scene and saw where their mother was buried, it was glorious, even though the tearing was too much, which touched our hearts. We also have to make sure that these people who have been left wandering, make sure that they have some kind of livelihood so they can continue with it. And this is the impact that road crashes have on families and even some victims. Some of the victims, I was just showing the picture to your producer. Take it from me. When I show it to you now, you might not continue. Yeah. They have to stay with this car for the rest of their life. Now, this is where the injustice comes in. Most of crash victims who survived have received, or injustice have been meted on them.
Explain further.
Thank you. So now, these...
And very soon I'll bring in Shirley Hazel Ferguson, Project Manager for Law and Development Associate Institute. She is concerned about the safety of children on our road. Shirley, good afternoon. Welcome to the pause.
Good afternoon, all team, and thank you for having me.
Right, and it's good to have you.
It's good to see Henry
Great.
And Rev on the show.
So I'll let Rev finish on the injustice aspect, and I'll come to you.
Very well.
So my senior colleague here reiterated the social contract. I never had a contract for you to go and kill me, or for you to have me injured, or for you to abruptly, cut the journey. But I paid that. You get me, you drive me safe to my destination. You let me stay alive to continue to use the transport. Here the case, there is an accident. And you left me in limbo, just being there. Look at the yearly injured victims that we have.
There are thousands.
Thousands. These victims, I can tell you that 90% have never gotten any claims, never been given any compensation. Most especially, I want to dwell on the last 5 years. The burn victims, and then that gory accident that got 2 accidents in one day. Over 100 people died in one day. The country, it was so catastrophic. I sat here, I used the same word, so gory. The whole country got talking about it. 5 years on, the families have never been given any compensation. And if you ask me, it's an injustice. It is criminal.
Have you pushed for it and nothing?
That is why I invited some of them to come and speak for themselves. That, look, are we going to be in this where you travel and something happened and you have been left alone for years? And here's the case, there is an insurance expert. They will tell you after 3 years, your insurance claim is status bad. So if you cannot, for 3 years, cannot walk and you cannot go for it, then it means that you are in labor. And mind you, we have very less insurance education in this country. Now, I brought these people because there were 100 people. I can bring one of them. I brought some here when it happens. Up till today, nothing has been done to them. Up to today. On the 5th of March last year, we had 40 people in Kintampo died. They came for the program in Kintampo. Nothing has been done to them.
And last week, 20 died. And I'm sure you want to add it to
exactly. No. Now I'm getting, I will not say fed up, but I think that there's a limit to what I can take.
Right.
Here I said, accident victim support, we have no funding whatsoever from any government. It's individual. And then on this, I would thank Serene and then NIC for sending me back to Kintampo to have the program done. And today, something happened. One man, Kafui at DVLA, called me and he said, Rev, bring that accident victim for 3 years. She had metals in her leg. The metal should be removed in about 1 year. It is 3 years, 19 years old girl. Kafui said, bring the girl, I'm going to pay for the metal to be removed. Look at the relieved. The girl started crying for 3 years. So if we can, at least, all of us can come to a consensus that when we have a lot of people crashing like that, let us see what we can do for them quickly.
I'll come to ask you whether there's a need for us to amend the law that governs this and see how best some of these things can be done. But let me now bring in Shirley. Shirley, so you've been listening to Reverend Cyril and, of course, Henry. I mean, the picture painted by Reverend Cyril is quite, it's not the best. I don't know what your initial reaction is before we get into the other matters.
Oh, of course. It's a very sad situation. I mean, about a week ago, I was told of the story of this young lady who was going to visit her mom at Makimoda, and the vehicle she was sitting in, a commercial vehicle, crashed with a truck carrying charcoal. So there was an explosion, and the fire hit her eye. As we speak right now, she's gone blind in one eye, and a young lady of about 29 who was doing her national service is now partially blind. So indeed, road safety, it's an issue, it's a multi-dimensional issue, and we need to really put in effort as multi-stakeholders to really address this carnage. I mean, we had some gains in the past years, so I believe road safety, National Road Safety Authority and its stakeholders, they are really doing a good job, and I hope they will get the necessary support together with the media and all other stakeholders so that we can continue to speak about these issues while we put in place measures. The road managers must really, be concerned about this and put in place measures to ensure that we do not have to go down these statistics. Rather, we should see an improvement in the situation.
More concerned about children. You think the state has left victims in such circumstances to their own fate? There's no state support to make their lives better from where you sit and what and the kind of work you do. And what can be done in this direction?
Well, I believe that there must be, it should be a concerted effort. There must be the roads, we should take care of the road users, we should take care of the roads infrastructure. At the same time, we should have post-crash, we should focus on post-crash as well. I believe that we need to prevent more than even we need to, how do I put it? The prevention is very key. And so if we're able to prevent and make sure that we don't even get to that point, then I think we will not have to waste so much money or resources on post-crash, issues of post-crash. But having said this, I know we are talking about Easter. Of course, it's already been said, we will be expecting issues of fatigue driving, we'll be expecting issues of drink driving and speeding. But I do hope also that we take a good look again at our street lighting and address the issue of street lighting for visibility at night, because that's also something that is become a major issue of discussion when you talk about road safety. And like you said, Elton, for us at Ladder Institute, our primary concern is with children.
Right.
Elton, it's 4 o'clock. Schools have closed. Parents have gone to pick their children. Let's take a ride on the streets of Accra. You would see that you will find unrestrained children more than you find restrained children. You would find children leaping about in the back of their parents' vehicle. You would find, in some instances, you would find parents or drivers holding children and driving.
Right.
I mean, these are behavioral. You know the irony of it all? The person driving is belted, has a seatbelt, but it hasn't occurred to him or her that I am protecting myself with the seatbelt. I need to protect the child as well. So
in fact, I see that a lot, and sometimes I ask myself whether it is for the fun of it, for people to see that you are driving a nice car or you have kids, because sometimes you see the kids standing in the vehicle, sometimes you see the kids sitting on the lap of the driver, and they are virtually playing in the vehicle. And you are amazed as to why a parent would put their children in such danger.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might not have even come across their mind that what they are doing. And even aside that, I don't know if you've noticed that you see some videos circulating where children fall off their vehicles, obviously because they haven't been restrained. Right. So I think it's something that we need to begin to discuss and bring people's mind to the point where they would appreciate that, okay, I think it's a behavioral change thing, first of all, and then there must be enforcement of the law as well. So we need to create that awareness. People need to know that there's a myth surrounding this whole thing about car seats, as though it is a luxury or it's something for the rich man. But then I think we need to reorient minds to that point where people will appreciate that using the seatbelt or using a child restraint device, which we normally call the car seat, it's something that will save your child's life. We are not saying that it would avoid an accident. No, but we are saying that in the event of an accident, it's likely to absorb the crash impact. Okay, so even as we are advocating for, I mean, I like what Henry said, that safety on the roads begin with us, the individual. We might blame the government for not doing one or two things. Yeah, they have a role to play. We might blame enforcement authorities for not strictly enforcing the law. They have a role to play. But it must begin with we, road users. So if I have a child and I sit in my vehicle because of the seatbelt alarm, I buckle and I forget to buckle my child, then I'm not loving the child. I'm rather not taking his or her safety into heart. And I don't think that is love. So if we really want to say that we love our children, we want to protect them, we have that responsibility. And
I think we have lost Shirley there. We'll try and reestablish contact or connection with her. The audio is gone. I don't know what really is happening here, but Shirley Hazel Ferguson. I think, Shirley, you may have to, I don't know whether your hand touched something, but you have to unmute for me.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So for you, what would be the way forward?
Well, I think that we need to intensify the public awareness, like I said. Beyond that, we have some laws that we must. I know that the regulation, the legislative instrument 2180, road traffic regulation is being worked on, is being reviewed. But then we have provisions that spell out what we have to do. For instance, our laws tell us that we don't, children under 5, you shouldn't place a child under 5 years in the front seat.
Yeah.
It also tells us that if a child between 5 to 19 is seated at the back and not belted, you commit an offense. So yes, we need to begin to enforce these laws that we have, even as we advocate that the laws are strengthened and tightened. At the same time, we need to continue with the education. The Public Affairs Director of National Road Safety Authority will tell you that education without enforcement is entertainment, which I really agree with. And so we need that they will have to go hand in hand, but we need to begin to talk and conscientize people to come to the point where they agree and know that indeed the safety of their child is in their hands.
Thank you very much for your time and your contribution to this discussion. Shirley Hazel Ferguson, Project Manager for Law, and of course, we are still discussing this matter here in the studio. Henry and Reverend Sarah are still here. So Henry, I mean, you've heard a lot. So let's look at the effectiveness of your proposed plan for this Easter and then hopefully beyond. But I'm also interested in the collaboration between the Commission and DVLA, where possibly from my point of view, I see cars that I can come to the conclusion they are not ready. In terms of moving forward, how are you going about this?
Okay, thank you very much. But just to correct you, now we are an authority, not a
right. Sorry about that.
Because we've been given some mandate.
That means more powers to do what you are mandated to do.
Yes, some mandate of enforcement has been attached to our mandate. Yes, this Easter, we all know when you say Easter, I'm sure Joy FM has a lot of programs. And you say, I hear it on Adom Kwewu, and you will be pulling people from all over Ghana,
the mountains,
all over Ghana to the mountains. And as we all go to the mountains, we go to make merry, and we go in a happy mood. We don't want to go and come back sad. We don't want to go with our friends and we return, our friends do not return, or we don't want to go and not return. So the focus for the Easter is actually on roads leading to Kwewu. And it is not that only roads leading to Kwewu, so other sections will be abandoned. It's just that it's being intensified on roads leading to Kwewu.
But let me ask, going back, do you always record accidents during Easter, especially in the Kwewu area?
We record, you see, the recording is not within the Kwewu area, because when you climb the top, you can't actually move your car. Sometimes when you go, if you go there, I know you park your vehicle and you literally walk. But it is the route, whether if you're moving from Accra through in Sanwo, in Koko, climbing. If you're moving from Kumasi through Koko, climbing. You get it? So those are the areas that we need to tackle. And most of the times, you see these young people drive all the way from Accra to Lindado. that is Bonsu Junction, most of the time they are sober because they know it's a long. But when they get to Lindador,
but the fun starts from
yes,
there.
Lindador and Paradise. When you get there, that is where the fun starts from because you feel like, oh, I'm almost there, and that is where you get people those who drink start drinking, those who like speeding will start speeding from that section. So what we do is that we have stationed men on this route and also at Lindador and then Paradise. From the other side too, we have stationed men when you are getting close to Nkoko from Konongo through to Nkoko, we station men there, so that as you get closer, you encounter the National Safety Authority, you encounter the DVLA, you encounter the police. And what are we doing? That we are doing both education and enforcement. As I said, education without enforcement is entertainment. So there are some people, I know there was this time that we had to detain a driver from driving to Kwewu on that day because he was drunk. Yeah. So they had to keep him till the following morning when he was sober before they left him to continue his journey. So those are some of the exercises that...
That means we should respect arrests, if you like.
Yes.
Of those who may be violating the traffic regulations.
In extreme cases, yes, you'll be arrested. But most of the times you'll be advised, and then sometimes when we see you drinking at Lindador and you are a driver, we won't let you continue your journey. So this...
I'm so known to you, people will be watching you and watching your movement as soon as you arrive at Lindador.
People will actually be watching you from Accra, as you move from Accra through to Nkoko.
As you move from Kumasi or any part of the country.
As you move from Kumasi to Nkoko or any part of the country. But I say it's intensified when you are getting to Nkoko, because we know that is where the fun starts. So we, as I said, we are partnering with other stakeholders like the police, the DVLA. We're also doing it with some NGOs who have come on board. So like the Bloomberg Philanthropists, even corporate Ghana, Rana Motors has come on board and they are doing free tie checks at Lindador. So I would urge drivers this festive time when you are coming, when you get to Lindador, just locate where the runner stand is and they will check your ties for free.
Before you continue.
Yes, and advise you on what you should do on your tie, if it is safe or not safe.
All right, so we'll be wrapping up. Let me come to you, Reverend Cyril. Are these workable solutions?
Oh, sure. I mean, most of things, I can't say anything otherwise. I think last year they mandated me to be on that stretch, and I think last year...
And we are actually going with him.
Right.
So he should say it.
Actually, road safety has been my director. So he's my senior colleague.
So in summing up for me, are these workable solutions?
Yes, very, very workable. Last year we observed the same. And let me highlight one salient point that before then it was not, but road safety ensured that it came up 3 years ago when the dual carriage came. It has completely lessened or reduced the crashes. And I think that if we can continue with the dual carriages, let's say from Suhum through to Apedja to Lindador, I think we can enjoy the festive season more. But also, if, like he's saying, if we have more of police presence, I have always said that we are Ghanaians, and so let's reduce the road safety to the Ghanaian road safety. Every driver fears the police attack or fears the police. And so if we have more of police presence on our roads, I think I will have more or less very small victims to support. But to a very long, going forward, I want to believe that none of us here we are all vulnerable. Right. We are all vulnerable. We can crash at any time. Sure. So when we are driving, we should drive with ourselves, thinking about ourselves and considering who is on the road. I also want to say that accident victim support, like you mentioned, there are people coming on board to support. Who is also coming on board to say, this is a wheelchair, this is a crutch, this is a Zimmer frame or arm sling for someone who needs it. There are about 15,000 injured victims. I can tell you every now and then, there are vulnerable victims who needs these things. And so I want to make the appeal. If any of the corporate institutions want to support, we also need funding. I must say it. Going to Kintampo and come back, it was not an easy journey. Right. And we were supported even though the National Road Safety did. I think that we should. Please, let me state this. Let's find justice.
Just 30 seconds.
Let's find justice for the 88 people or the over 100 people who crashed in one day, their families are still crying on me. Number two, those who got bent beyond recognition, they are also crying for justice. If you like, I'll bring just one here to come and air their story out there. And I want to beg the system, if we can be called upon, so that these people can be given anything at all, I mean, to help them forget about those who have died, who were breadwinners, and then they can live their life on. It would make Ghana to be a better place to live.
Thank you very much. And we have been looking at our roads and the carnage on our roads as we prepare to have the Easter weekend, which is coming up this Friday. And you've been listening to Henry Asumani, Deputy Director for Public Investment Development Unit at the National Road Safety Authority, and of course, Reverend Cyril Crab, President, Accident Victim Support Foundation, Ghana. This